Hey, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome to my new channel. I decided to spin off all my art onto Len Banks Art off of my other YouTube channel to keep this more focused. I hope you'll join me on my art journey. Today I'm going to step back and do some watercolor painting again. I've been doing oil for a few months now, and I'm looking forward to doing some reflections in a pond, beautiful trees. If those are things that you struggle with, well, so do I. We'll see how I do. It's been a long time since I've done watercolor. So we're gonna give this a shot. Join me for this video. Watch through all the way to the end. And if you would, as it's a new channel, just go ahead and like and subscribe and follow this artist trying to do well and grow in their skills. So, hey, thank you for being here. I am out painting in my neighborhood. I am so blessed to live in a neighborhood that has such beauty. I'm going to do something of this scene here, the weeping willow, the cedars in the middle of the pond. I'm just looking forward to this. I'm literally just around the corner from my house. I found this great bench under this tree on a Saturday morning. It's a little busy road here. It's one of the main entrance roads into our neighborhood. So I'll hear a bit of a car noise. But it's just a great environment. I love that they try to keep these retention ponds looking very natural, designing them well. So I'm looking forward to this scene. I've zoomed in a bit so you could see it a little bit more closely how I'm gonna frame it out. Not all this area to the left, let me get my finger there. Not all that area to the left of the tree as much as getting the cedars in the water. None of this lawn on the foreground because I think that would create too many horizontal bands. We don't want to do that. I want to create a nice composition. But clearly the weeping willow is going to be the center of interest, but not the center of the painting despite the framing of this video. So let's keep watching, see what I make of it. All right, you can't see the painting very well because I'm in the shadow and the camera's not picking it up, but I am running into some serious challenges. My block is getting a little on the older side, so my paper lifted off the block and is now not secure. And I don't have clips, and it's a little bit of a breeze, so it's blowing around and lifting up a little bit. So plein air painting has its challenges, but I still like where it's heading. So creating the reflection in the water and making multiple layers and spraying water on it to let it drip and run. We'll see how it lands. And of course, my center of interest isn't there yet, so it's not all come together. But I'll bring you in on the progress as we go. All right, I think I'm pretty much done. In one sense, it seems like it's a mess, but in another sense, it feels very painterly, which is what I was hoping for. I've actually applied a lot of the techniques that I've learned in oil painting from Sargent, looking at studying John Singer Sargent's work and just some of the color that just is laid on top in big sweeps. And I don't know, I particularly love that trunk of the pond cypress, and some of the reflections work. I don't know, I don't want to overwork it, but I feel like a lot of that works. Creating the flowing pattern of the willow tree. Just lots of loose brush strokes, thicker pigment that's not as transparent, just sort of heavier weight of it. Of course, some of those lines are shadows from the environment. I'll take this back to the house and in better lighting, do another little look at it. I may have a completely different feel of it in different lighting. So, but nonetheless, I had a fun experience out here, and let's get this inside to do a little bit more of an eval. All right, I am back in my studio, and I like it for the most part now that I've got an even lighting on it. I think it works well, except a couple things that I'm going to try to fix. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I wanted this tree to stand out a bit more, but it just sort of gets lost in all the green. And one strategy would be to make that a lot darker so that the tree stands out more. But then that would bring, I think, the background a little too forward. I want it to just kind of be lost back there. So I'm going to try first using some creamy color gouache to bring this out a little bit more with some of the highlights, which there was a lot of sunshine blowing these around and a lot of highlights on there. So I'm going to see if I can bring some of that a little forward. Also, I'm going to put a few horizontal streaks across the water just to give it more of a sense of a surface instead of just the side of a cliff hanging down there. But otherwise, I think that's working. And again, even in this light, bringing it back inside, I just love the base of that pond cedar. I love the trunk of that tree. I love Spanish moss, and I love highlighting it. Of course, it's not that color in reality, but I just like bringing it out. But to that point, you know, maybe I brought it too far forward to this. So I've got to work on bringing that forward. So we'll see how it works. Here it is. I framed it up. Everything looks so much better framed. I in fact did all the things. I made the background trees a little bit darker. That did help them to recede, as well as creating a greater level of contrast so that the tree would pop out. And usually your center of interest wants to have your darkest near your lightest, which of course that tree is not the lightest value on the painting. So that's not entirely true. I guess your eye really is drawn to the bottom trunk of the oak tree with the Spanish moss on it. But nonetheless, your eye is drawn into the painting and around the scene. Let me see if I can get my, oh. All right, your eye is, oh, I've got reflection on there, sorry about that. Your eye is kind of drawn in around here, your loop around in all of this area. And you're drawn back into the picture. And that's what good composition can do. I'm not going to say this is the best composition, but your eye is drawn into it, which is the goal of a painting. So not only did I make the background recede more by making it dark, I put on various highlights of a gouache, not a white gouache, but a creamy gouache called Jaune Brilliant. And this is a great paint because you don't really, white is not the purest. I mean, you don't see a lot of white as highlights, truly. It's got a hue to it, a little bit of a different color to it. So that's nice. And then I also did put some horizontal streaking a little bit just to make the surface of the water appear better. I think all in all, this is a much better painting and I'm happy with it. And I said all along that I was putting in some things I learned from studying John Sargent. I did this master copy painting in my oil painting class, and just all of those individual strokes of bright color and that bright accent on that side of the trunk, just this juicy brush stroke. Well, you can do that in watercolor as well. You know, you've got the different levels of how much water you put in there, and the less water, more almost out of the tube type level, allows you to do some painterly strokes as well. And of course, doing it on dry paper as opposed to wet and wet. All of the early washes were done wet and wet, but then towards the end there, I was doing some really thick pigment on the paper as it had dried. Again, sorry for the reflections on the glass there, but I wanted to show it framed because that just makes it so much better, flattens out the paper and everything. All right, well, hey, thank you for being here and watching this. I hope you made it all the way to the end to look at the doing reflections on the water and how I brought out the contrast of the tree and how you can kind of rework watercolor to some degree. It's not as easy to go back and fix as oil painting is, because it is a water-based medium and you work from your darks and you've got to save your lights. And so it's a little more challenging. Once you've lost the light, you've lost it. So it's a little, other than putting on a few highlights with some gouache. But nonetheless, watercolor is harder to fix, but it doesn't mean it can't be fixed to some degree. So I hope you enjoyed that. And then if you want to see that oil painting journey, I've got some other videos, so check out some of my oil painting journey that I've been on as well. And thank you for being here. Hey, that painting, all my paintings are pretty much available for sale. If you're interested in that, check out my site, lenbanks.com. And that's my art gallery page and has a storefront. So I'd love, if you're interested in something, just let me know. That would be great. Thank you. Be good to others. Bye-bye.